the big one that was for me was the billeting.
Yeah.
Like you moved the first time I moved away, and I was 18. I wasn't even 16 when I moved the first time. So I was gone at 18 by myself, lived with a family that didn't. I had to do most of the stuff myself. Like I did a lot of the like cooking, cleaning, whatever. And these are all things like skills I didn't have, things I didn't know what to do. Didn't know anyone that lived there, and those are things that have nothing to do with hockey, but they'll affect hockey, big time.
It's gonna affect
right?
hockey big time.
Yeah. So these are the things, like if you're in a tough living situation, like how are you going to deal with that mentally? If you're feeling lonely, like how are you going to deal with that mentally? If you've never been lonely, if you've always had mom in your back pocket or whatever.
Dude, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
Because Charlie legitimately, there's a really high percentage chance that in 7 months, 8 months, he's not living with me anymore. And I didn't have a child, so I can give him away.
Yeah.
And but that's why I've prepared him so much in different ways, not just for hockey, but for life. Because that's the thing, is he comes from a house where his mom and dad love him to death. We spend time speaking together, laughing, and like life is always about what do you think, and making him think. And he's very comfortable in our house. It's the funniest house in the world. It's just a great place to be. But he could go to a house totally opposite. He could have he move in a house of a super fan that wants to talk to him all day and tell him how hockey works, or he wants to blow his head off because he doesn't want to hear it anymore. He could go to a place like we've had, like when I moved away, when I moved to Hamilton, the first house I came in, and the first house I came to, they were like really nice people, Leon and Linda, I can't remember. I was only there for 3 days. So when I walked in the house, so my house when I grew up was like a small, tiny, no yard, not the nicest neighborhood, and my parents split up, and my mom did the best that she could, and so I didn't come from anything lavish whatsoever. So we went to this house, and it was like a really nice house, like a really nice, like not a mansion or anything, but like a really nice house, something that I would be really happy to live in today. So I go to the door, I'm like, wow, this is where I'm going to get to live. I thought I hit the jackpot, right? And they're just super nice people. But as I walked in, there was a cat that rubs against my leg, and I'm like, oh boy, if I'm allergic to one thing, it's cats and dust, but cats, like it takes me. I was at my brother-in-law's the other day, and within 5 minutes I started, eyes are almost shut, hardly can breathe. So there's a cat in the house. So this is an issue. This is a legit issue of playing hockey. But not only that, it's in my head. And then, so I go downstairs to my room, and then I had to basically change. I had a guy picking me up, and we went to the rink. So before I was leaving, good thing I didn't say I was hungry. I came out of the oven, I'd never seen it before. Never seen it. It's called a tuna casserole. Didn't know what that was. But all I know is I thought someone puked in a casserole dish and said, here, eat this. I'm like, what the hell is that? And it's probably, I just didn't know it. It's a food I've never seen. Yeah. So I was like, I'm good. I ate before I got here. I'm not hungry at all. Like I lied. I needed to eat. But I was like, wow. I'm not saying that for any other reason than that is an issue. So, okay, so there's a cat, and I don't know if I can eat their food. Wonderful people. So then the kicker was, after we were gone for 2 days on a road trip, came back. So it was really my second night at the house. And it was a Sunday morning. It was about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. I hear on my door. And I'm like, wow, like we got in at 3 or something like that. I'm like, yeah, hello? and the lady goes, oh, Andy, time to get up. We have church. And I'm like, well, that's not something I do either. So I was like, oh, no, I don't know. No, you have to. So I got out of it, but it wasn't a good thing because the other guy that was living there went, and it was part of his life. So I went to the coach, and I just said, okay, coach, like, he's like, oh, no, cool. And he was a hard ass, but he was like, no, that's cool. Move me to the next house. And it was like home, a little better. Yeah. Nice, not a huge house, but a nice young family starter home, 29-year-old guy. Still talk to him. Love these people. They were the best. She actually overcooked for me, but everything she made was just so delicious. The first time I had this, never seen this in my life, it was roast beef dinner. It was probably my first week there. On a Sunday after game and stuff. So I'm at home, and I walk in the house, and there's a beautiful roast beef dinner and I thought, what the heck is this? It was called Yorkshire pudding. Never seen it before in my life. It was like a bread. I'm like, wow, this is unreal. And then she made these brownies. They're called turtle brownies and stuff. Like, oh, I hit the jackpot here. And they gave me the keys to Mustang, red Mustang. I'm like, what is going on here?
that's
It was
jackpot.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
But again, it's different than my lifestyle. So I was overly appreciative of it, and so thankful. And they had a little 2-year-old David. He was I'd be in the morning and he'd come running in my room and jump on my bed and, hammer me with his diaper. It was great. But anyways, the thing is, it's a challenge. You're not in your own bed. And that's what I'm thinking about with my son. If and when he moves away, wow, that's one challenge. One. And then here's the other thing you're not even thinking about with that. You move away from home. Are you a family that can afford to get your kid around? So some kids, I remember some guys on the team, they're chicken farmers and people with tons of money. And the kid would come into town and they'd have a nice car. Other kids don't have that. And if you're not living in the right spot around the right people, there's another challenge, just getting to the rink, just getting to school and stuff like that. So these are issues.
Yeah.
So how do you overcome it? And the easy thing to do is like the things that are in your control but not in your control, for example, like a ride. This is where it can really eat away at your hockey career. So for example, I used to drive in with Mario Chitteroni. He was a smaller guy. He had a Volkswagen W and used to jam guys in there. And I counted on him for rides. But when he wanted to leave the rink at night, he was a great hockey player. Like he was about 5'7" and would fight anyone and was good. And he was a few years older than me. Great guy. Anyways, when he wanted to leave though for the rink, like as a young guy, I wanted to get that extra ice because I was 16 and there's extra ice. Like you're still so horny for hockey. There was extra ice and it's like, well, and he's like, okay, I want to go. It's like, okay, that's my ride. So what do I do? Do I take the ride? So I was dumb. I caved in and I took the ride. If I really, really, really buckled down and ate shit for a while, I would have taken a bus. I would have, because they gave us bus tickets. But taking the bus was harder. It took more time. You get home later. It's not cool. So I most of the times took the ride with Mario. With Tiger is his name. Mm-hmm. And so was that mentally tough? Not really. That was my own demise, maybe. Yeah. But it was one thing. But see how the issues, they just keep piling on.
Well,